Sanabi popped up on my Steam page, and I'd be lying if I said I wasn't immediately reminded of Katana Zero. From the purple key art to the pixelated graphics, and the fact the publisher was NEOWIZ, the same company behind the DJ Maxx franchise, I quickly decided to check it out. Digging deeper, it was clear that it was a platforming game centered around a grappling hook, and I was very curious to see how well it executed on such a popular means of traversal. In Sanabi, you play as a retired military general who specialized in using a chain arm prosthesis in combat. During your retirement, a terrorist named Sanabi that you've encountered in the past retaliates with a bomb that instead claims the life of your daughter. The general then sets out to locate Sanabi for several days following the incident, but unfortunately finds nothing. During a shakedown of a black market vendor that sold the bomb to Sanabi, the general is contacted by his previous military associate, Colonel Bake, who thinks he's found a lead on Sanabi's location. Reconnecting with your previous military partners, you learn that Mago City, a super city built by a corporation called the Mago Group, has mysteriously gone dark, has been cut off from all external networks, and the entire population of almost 3 million people have disappeared. Collectively, with the knowledge of past experiences, you and your allies conclude that only Sanabi could be behind such a strange occurrence. The mission that Colonel Bake has for the general is to extract the sole survivor of the investigation team sent to Mago City, Mari, a young, brilliant hacker that sent a distress signal claiming to have found information regarding the source of the Mago City blackout. The general accepts the mission to locate Mari and recover the information she's found, but the mission is ultimately a stepping stone for him to locate and kill Sanabi by any means necessary. Gameplay in Sanabi is platforming, centered around the general's chain arm, which functions as a grappling hook. The movement is very polished in Sanabi, and the momentum behaves intuitively between swings, with lower releases increasing your travel velocity. You also have a boost that can be used once while swinging that enables you to travel further and increase your traversal speed. Throughout the game, Sanabi does an excellent job of introducing new concepts and techniques with new obstacles or new traversal abilities that maintain the grappling hook as the focal point. With moving anchor points, fields that you need to avoid, and clinging to ceilings and walls, I was honestly impressed with how many new mechanics were introduced, and how the creative level design utilized them to keep gameplay fresh and engaging. There are also combat sections where you must defeat the enemies to proceed. The combat still focuses on the grappling hook, with enemies typically dying in one hit after you latch onto them. Some enemies in later levels must be thrown into hazards to defeat them, which is handled by sending the enemy in the opposite direction that you kick off of them after latching on. While these combat sections did provide additional variance in gameplay, I did personally think there was not much of a challenge offered given that the enemies are defeated in one hit, and that the aim assist, which I'll talk about later, makes it easy to lock on at max range. These combat mechanics are also used in boss fights throughout the game, which do actually highlight more creative level and enemy design within Sanabi. The bosses all feel unique and challenge your ability to quickly read what's happening on the screen and react accordingly. Sanabi does deliver a solid platforming experience, but it also delivers a story that I found equally, if not more, engaging. I won't go into much detail around the story to avoid spoilers, because as the plot builds, more and more mysteries surrounding the Blackout and the Mago Group come to light. But while I do think Sanabi has a lot to offer, that doesn't mean it's above criticism, and there were things that I think could have been better. The biggest gripe I had with the gameplay of Sanabi was that there's an aim assist that I couldn't seem to disable. I think it's present to help ensure you know when your grappling hook can reach anchor points off screen, but there were times that the assistance felt like the game was fighting against me. This is especially prevalent in combat or boss fights where there are specific resources that you're required to interact with, because the aim assistance becomes more of a lock-on than a gentle nudge. Later into the game, when encounters become more lethal, I would often attempt to move past an obstacle or try to attach to something so I could swing to safety, only to be forced onto a different target that would cause me to take damage or have to restart. Another way that Sanabi fumbles, in my opinion, is near the end of the game, where you're poised with a choice that either ends the game abruptly or lets you play the rest of the game. While this method of implementing multiple endings is common, and funnily enough was also present in Katana Zero, it's not so egregious that it negatively affects the game as a whole. In fact, completing the game through either means unlocks chapter select, so you're able to jump right back to the choice without needing to play through the game again. These types of multiple endings always make me wonder what the intention was and why it was included, since the bad ending is purposefully presented as unsatisfying to let you know it's the wrong choice. That being said, one thing I thought was very well executed was how Sanabi exercises the common trope of releasing you back into the world with all of your obtained knowledge and skills. Without spoiling the story, you are eventually extracted from Mago City, but return in order to act on the information that Mari uncovered about the Mago Group. This places you back at the beginning of the game with the context of needing to reach the center of the city before it's too late. This was extremely satisfying in my opinion, because the motivations and narrative context you gain up to this point supplement the feeling of breezing through sections you may have previously found difficult. During this final dash, you're also given more information around the story being told that builds to a satisfying conclusion that genuinely moved me to tears. In the end, I think Sanabi is an above-average platforming game with an excellent story. The controls are responsive and fluid, but not without some issues such as the aim assist that can't be disabled. While the story and game is a bit slow at the start, the payoff is absolutely worth it, and Sanabi is an excellent example of the types of stories that can be told with video games. I'd say it's definitely worth anyone's time. Thanks for watching, take care, and remember, keep having fun.